Check this out. We are about to see the biggest money shift in modern history. It is quietly being positioned around one asset, and how every single macro signal from the Fed all the way to Binance now, it now points in one direction, and that direction is XRP. We're going to break this down step by step, because when you connect all of these dots that I'm about to show you, it is impossible. You can't do it. Unsee where this is going. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, and if you already are, hit that thumbs up. The more thumbs up we get, the more YouTube's going to push out this content, and that is the ultimate way to support the channel and what we are doing around here. And guess what? It's free. But we're going to start right here, because this is the delay that's going to change everything. Let me blow it up. Mt. Gox, they just delayed their repayments again. It is now set for a year out. This is huge. October 31st, 2026. Look, that is over a decade of Bitcoin being locked up. Billions of dollars in dormant liquidity still frozen. And that delay, guess what? It's not random. It's strategic. You want to know why? Because when that much Bitcoin can enter circulation, supply tightens. And when that liquidity gets trapped here, guess what? It's going to need a new home. That home is the assets that have utility, that have regulations, and that they have a real world use case. Which brings us to what's happening with Ethereum right now. The great rotation, folks, it is starting. So while retail is busy staring at the Bitcoin chart, you know what the big money's doing? It's already rotating. It is getting prepared. Look, I've been here 8 years. I know how these cycles play out. This is my third cycle. Bitcoin runs, money rotates from Bitcoin to Ethereum. Ethereum then runs, and money rotates from ETH into altcoins. It's a very simple strategy, but people keep confusing it and overhyping it. But you're probably thinking, Rip, but why are they rotating now into ETH? Bitcoin's not done. Because the money that is going to be made isn't ETH, not Bitcoin. Look, Bitcoin from here, the chances that we get a 2x, not probable. But ETH from here, the chances that we get a 2x, a lot more probable. Let's talk about last week, Bitcoin's emission, right? It was a publicly traded company. They dropped over $320 million on 77,000 Ethereum. That's not a speculatory play here. That is what we call positioning, because they are getting ready. Historically, when Bitcoin tops, that capital floodgates, it opens and money rotates down the chain from Bitcoin to ETH to utility tokens. And this time, the cycle looks different. Why? Because the next in line after ETH, it's not going to be your meme coins and your shit coins. No, it's going to be XRP, which is sitting right at the crossroads of regulations and institutional access. Have you forgotten about those 24 ETFs that are just sitting there waiting for the government to reopen, for the SEC to approve them? Do you understand the amount of money that is going to flood into XRP? Do you understand that XRP futures set records? And that's a future. That's a paper contract. No direct access to the utility or to the asset itself. No direct holdings of it. It's a paper contract moving back and forth. Imagine when those ETFs get approved and now they can actually have exposure to the asset. And then proof of that, well, I got it, because I want you to look at who is going to be meeting next week. But first, make sure you signed up for the newsletter. Newsletter number 2 is coming out here shortly. The link is down below. Hit the join newsletter button. And if you didn't book a call, now's the time to do it. This call is me and you. No rules, no playbook, no script. We talk about what you want to talk about. You want to talk about LLC tax structuring, getting set up, tax-free, how to do it, what it really means. You want to talk about OTC, bullish, bearish scenarios, what I'm doing, my exit strategy. You got to book the call. We're booked out into November at this point, so get it done now. And then we got this conference. This conference says it all, folks. Binance Blockchain Week. The guest list leads like a financial prophecy here. Michael Saylor, Brad Garlinghouse, Raoul Paul, and then the man, the myth, the legend, the one who pulled the biggest heist, 19 billion, CZ Binance. He's going to be there. and they're all going to be on the same stage. Think about it. The maximalist, the bridge builders, the macro strategist, and the exchange king himself. What do you think this conversation is going to be about? Not speculation. It's going to be about integration. It's not going to be about retail hype. It's going to be about the infrastructure. And while they talk adoption, another wave of money is getting ready to hit this market. And it's not from the hedge funds. It's actually from the athletes. Remember this clip? Who remembers this? NBA star Tristan Thompson. He just joined top executives, planning why athletes are now moving serious money capital into crypto. Listen.
So many teammates, former teammates have called me literally for the last 6 to 8 months, asking me for this information, asking like, hey, I want to get into crypto. I have this extra liquidity. I have this money. I want it to work and do something because I don't truly believe where it's sitting right now is actually giving me the best returns or the best upside. So what I say to guys is the advice that I'm gonna give a rookie is totally different than a guy I'm gonna give 10 years plus in the leagues, right? So for instance, with a rookie, right? You're on a rookie contract. Of course, you're gonna have to, figure out, what's your overhead gonna look like. But what I say for the rookies and the young guys, it's the money that you would spend for miscellaneous and leisure, allocate some of that money to that, right? So if out of your total contract or your biweekly paycheck, you set aside 10% of that for miscellaneous and leisure exposure, take 5%, take half of that and go open yourself a wallet and go do your deep dive, whether it's buying ETH, whether it's buying Bitcoin, whether it's buying Solana, XRP, do the education research and just save that money that you would spend at the nightclub, maybe a couple nights instead of going to the nightclub, you're buying, a digital asset, right? Use that to start building up your honeycomb savings where you're in full control, where no one's getting a fee, no one's getting a cut, and you're basically your own CEO. And I think when I tell guys that, they feel that motivation because I think more than anything else, athletes want to start feeling like their own boss. That's why if you see like LeBron, myself, Alex Rodriguez, Derek Jeter, Magic Johnson, right? We've all had this notion and this motivation.
Look, well said. And he told you where the money's going to be going. Bitcoin, ETH, Solana, and XRP. Because look, when ETFs go live and financial advisors can finally allocate crypto inside of managed portfolios, it unlocks institutional grade access for everyone. And these athletes, they're not gambling, folks. They're hedging. He said a very smart thing. And all that money you're going to take spending at the nightclub, and they spend a lot of money at these nightclubs, put it into crypto. Even if you do 50%, put it into crypto. Look, 5% of their net worth into crypto, that's going to be the new standard among high net worth players. And guess what they're picking for payments and cross-border utility? XRP. But the macro setup behind all of this, that's where the real story actually begins, because behind closed doors, major financial institutions, JP Morgan, Bank of America, they are now hinting that it's coming to an end. The Fed's balance sheet, it has already dropped from $9 trillion to $6.6 trillion. Liquidity is being squeezed out dry. But once QT officially pauses, the rebound always comes in waves. And when that liquidity tide turns, and folks, it's gonna turn, it doesn't just trickle. It absolutely erupts. And that eruption, where does it start? It starts in Bitcoin. But it spills straight into the assets with the deepest corridors for global flow. Which brings us to the data. Zoom out for a second, folks. Bitcoin against gold. Bitcoin against the M2 liquidity. It's a freaking mirror. You see it on your screen right here. That means that the next rally that's coming, it's not random. The same liquidity flood that boosted equities back in 2020 is now sitting up to hit digital assets. But this time, the regulatory clarity is here, which is going to help direct it where this money is going to go. And that's exactly where the banks are quietly aligning, which puts us here because according to Geoffrey K of Standard Charter, we are 6 to 8 months away from full DeFi institutional clarity. Listen.
We have the tokenized money market fund stuff. We have each of these weekend liquid now. We have a large push now already into tokenized equities. We will get Clarity Act, SEC guidelines. We'll work out what we can do in DeFi, what's legitimate, what can scale in DeFi. And I think this is all like in the next 6 to 9 months, actually. And so I think if we today have something like $30 billion in tokenized real-world assets outstanding. In 12 months, we're going to be at like 300 billion. So I think you're just at that acceleration point where regulation, liquidity, and others can come together, and we can move very, very quickly. So it's equities now. It will be tokenized broader funds at some stage. Like when I talk to the real money accounts, at some stage next year, one of the main ones that possibly starts with B is going to say, okay, here's like $50 billion fund, which is now all in tokenized space. And when after that, you'll get all the FOMO from all the others doing exactly the same, right? So we're just now at that tipping point in tokenized real world asset space. And the average person will end up with a new wallet in their phone. They won't know the cash part is stablecoins. They won't know the equity part is tokenized Apple stock. They won't know the money market fund is with Biddle, right? So, and because of AI agents next year, when everyone has that as well, every time you get paid every month, an individual will be able to be super capital efficient, right? So money comes in and goes out immediately to each of these assets, and you can get in and out of them on weekends. You can do stuff in DeFi with them to get extra leverage as well. So I think we're just there now at this explosion. So actually, for me, if 2025 has been about stablecoins, 2026 might be all about this, quite seriously.
Eric, I see you now.
I mean, just amazing statements right there. Look, he even teased that one major global bank is going to announce its official DeFi integration next year. And once they move, you know what's going to happen? The rest of the banks are going to FOMO in. They don't want to be first, but they definitely don't want to be last. That's how it all starts. One domino falls, the rest collapse into $1 trillion inflow. So while everyone is chasing these short-term pumps, the smart money is doing completely the opposite here. They're staking, they are compounding, and they are getting locked in for the rest of 2025 and 2026. The year this foundation turns into momentum, something like you've never seen before. And now all the signals are starting to converge, because we get this: 2 rate cuts coming. QT going to be paused. China deal, it's brewing. November tailwinds, October, hey, it just flashed green. ETF green lights are incoming. Government's going to reopen. If I had to take a guess, it's in November at some point. And then treasuries are quietly running QE. Everything here points the same way. Liquidity is coming back. And when that wave hits, it's not going to flow into what's speculative. It's going to flow into what is actually ready. The rails, the regulations, the real utility. And it all points to XRP. Look, you're not early anymore. You're on borrowed time. Because when the SEC $1 trillion inflow finally opens the gate, it's not going to crypto. It's going to go through XRP, folks. Make sure you hit that thumbs up. I hope you enjoyed. Drop me a comment down below. When are you going to think that the US government's going to reopen and we finally get these XRP ETF approvals to go through? I'll see all y'all on the next one.